Hi guys, and hello from the hilltop. I'm Waxahachie Blue, and I want to welcome you to my channel, The Plateau Perfectionist. Today's video is the setup for 2023 here in my brand new size A5 dot journal from Archer and Olive. So my goal for this particular year is to get all of my bullet journal into one journal. I am one of those people, I actually do not like transitioning 6 months through the year into a new journal. It drives me nuts. So I decided to change up some of my spreads for the year and for my months and my weeks to just make sure that everything fits into one journal, and we're just gonna go with it. Hopefully I have enough space and I mathed out everything right. So that's one reason why this quote-unquote title page is a little skimpy. By title page, I mean I wrote the year for this particular book, journal, whatever you want to call it, as well as my word for the year. I like to have at least a word for every year. It changes year to year. Last year's was choice, and this year's is enough, because I have enough, I've had enough, I do enough, and I am enough. I found that last year I was overextending myself in certain parts of my life, and so hence why this is my word for 2023. As for this page, I'm just writing out this book belongs to, because I noticed that this particular Archer and Olive didn't give a space for that, and so I just decided to make it this particular page. Also, towards the bottom, I included a key. Now, I don't always include a key because I do my own system for bullet journaling compared to what is in the more traditional bullet journal style. It was just I had the extra space, so I decided to put it there. I also decided not to really include any doodles per se on this page. I'm really going for that minimalist aesthetic, that uniformity, not quite utilitarian, because I did include some colors here and there, but I just wanted to keep everything relatively cohesive and recreatable. I mean, you don't necessarily have to doodle on your pages. You don't have to draw anything. This journal is for whatever you want it to be. And I wanted some color, yes, but I didn't feel like drawing anything, so I didn't. Now, as for the colors that I used a neutral pack from Zero Modeliners. It is one of their newer packs. You can actually find it both on Amazon as well as the Zero website. I personally bought mine from the Zero website because it was cheaper than the one that they had on Amazon. It actually comes with 8 colors, not just 6. There are 2 additional colors. One is a cream tone, which is great for like skin tone colorings. If you don't have the Crayola Skin Colors of the World pack, which if you can find that one, especially in the skinny markers, I highly recommend it. The colors are gorgeous. It also came with an additional gray, which was more of a warmer gray, and I figured with these 3 browns I would go with the cooler gray, so I'd stuck with the 6 colors instead of using the full 8. Not only that, but after the first 6 months I can just restart the color palette. Now all of my months will be monochromatic using the color for that month, but we'll get there when we get to the January setups, which will hopefully be coming in the next few days. I did also include some washi, just because I happen to have some washis that match the color palette, plus I am trying to use up some of what I have, and since I already had them on hand and I've had them for several years, I figured why the heck not, and just go with what I had. I believe these particular washis were just in some solid color packs that I found on Wish or AliExpress, or you could probably even find them on Amazon these days. As for my future log, I decided to cheat just a little bit. I went to Google and I found myself a printable of the year 2023 calendars like this. I did that for 2 reasons. 1, I get a hand cramp from having to write them all. And 2, I like mine set up Monday to Sunday, so despite being in America here, where all of the other calendars I have that surround me are Sunday to Saturdays, setting up my bullet journal I like it Monday to Sunday. So there's my year at a glance. It's just that one page, and then this secondary page is where I will be writing out birthdays, monthly bills, as well as separate bills that I know will be coming down the pipeline, the occasional annual bill that you get to pay, as well as a section for important dates, such as I do have some committees that I am on, so I will have meetings that I will need to attend, doctor's appointments, anything overly important that needs to be on the future log. The important column is where it will go. But yeah, I just did these little T-charts to allow myself a space for the date, as well as whatever additional information I need to have. And then later on, I did do just a little bit of a color coding system just on the monthly log to better show things like major holidays, days that the office will be closed, show where the birthdays are, as well as things of that nature. So these next couple spreads have to do with finances. The first one is something that I have decided to do for the year 2023. It is a no buy, low buy challenge. I sat down and really did some deep thinking on when I spend the most money in the course of a year, and it's usually around my birthday, which is in May, as well as Christmas. So since these are pretty decent distance apart, I decided to break the year up into quarters, and the first quarter, January through March, will be a no buy. The second quarter, April through June, will be a low buy, and then the cycle will repeat for the second half of the year. This will hopefully give me some time to kind of reset some of my finances. What with having surgery in November, my emergency funds got eaten up pretty quick. Now, I will very much say I am very happy that I had emergency funds in order to pay the differences on things that the insurance couldn't cover. But at the same time, now my emergency funds are rather depleted, and I need to give myself that space to refill them. But I also still need to allow myself to be able to spend at least at some point over the course of the year. So this particular spread is basically a breakdown or a broken down version of a year in pixels, and I will be giving myself, certain things I am obviously allowed to buy, like I will be, I need to pay bills, I need to make payments for things of that nature, I need to buy dog food, cat food, and gas for the car, and things of that nature. So there I do have an okay list of things that are allowed to buy. And then I also created a small thing at the bottom for rewards, because I figure if I do really good for the no buy months, which is only 90 days of no spending, excessive spending, I can allow myself, I can treat myself to a pedicure for my birthday, or buy a new dress for Easter, depending on what's going on in those particular months. So I'm giving myself space for rewards during my low buy months, as well as giving myself some grace, as the situations happen, because, life happens. I can't plan everything on January 1st of a new year. So this next page has to do with my car. So for those of you who don't know, this past year I purchased a new vehicle. My other one sadly bit the dust. So my new car, who I have nicknamed Arlo, has his own little spread right here. A couple years back, I had a very similar spread set up for my student loan payments. Back when I first started bullet journaling, one of the reasons I wanted to journal was to keep a better running record of my payments towards debt, specifically my student loans, which was my biggest debt. Over the past few years, I managed to pay off all of my student loans. So now my next biggest loan payment, because I do have a loan, a car loan, is to pay off Arlo. So this particular spread, I will probably not fill out over the entirety of the year. I owe too much money on Arlo to completely pay him off in 1 year. However, I wanted to give myself the space to do that. So I broke it down into $1,000 chunks. These are 4 by, I would say 20, and that they have 2 rows of 5 boxes each, because the average payment that I give is I give $200 every 2 weeks, because my pay periods are 2-week pay periods. And I do that regardless of when the actual car payment is due, and I've actually managed to get about a month ahead on my car payments. I do that because I want to make sure that if something comes up, I still have that cushion of already being ahead on payments. Plus, it helps counteract interest buildup and things of that nature. So yeah, I'm going to have all of these boxes. The top row is for the date of the payment, just so I can kind of keep a running record, just in case something happens with the payment app or anything of that nature. I still have it in hard copy form. And then also how much I put towards that payment, because sometimes I might have an extra $50 I can put towards it, and so I do $250 instead of $200. Or once I get the additional debt that I have encumbered, or my emergency accounts are a little fuller, I can start putting more towards my payments later on in the year. So this gives me a little more space, or it just gives me a way to write out when I have done a payment, how much the payment was for, and to just kind of show progress of chipping away at the loan that I have for my car. And then, yeah, hopefully, obviously I won't get it all done in 1 year. I just won't. Sorry. I would love to, if I could, that'd be great. But in the meantime, this will also give me a better running record, so eventually, if I have to set up a similar spread next year, I can kind of show a better breakdown of how much I managed to do this year and how much I still have left to do in the next year. And hopefully I can get him paid off in 2 years. That's the goal anyway. I'd love to get him paid off in 2 years. So the last couple pages here are for a new spread that I have invented. This particular spread I'm calling Points for Progress. So for those of you who do not know or don't follow, you just happen to come across this video, I live a ketogenic lifestyle. I love living a ketogenic lifestyle. It works really well for me. However, over a course of a lifetime of issues with a relationship with food, as well as sugar addiction, carb addiction, just that all around, it can really mess with your head if you do it long enough. This past year, I really developed a toxic relationship with food to the point where I was really trying to find myself some therapeutic help, like mental therapy type help. Sadly, that particular part was not in the cards, but I did manage to mend my relationship quite a ways. So I decided to kind of create this spread for myself for this year to hopefully keep that positive progress going. So this is basically keto meets Weight Watchers, in that I have developed a rough draft point system for each day on building up some points, so that way if I decide, say for example, I want to have a cheat day for in a couple weeks or so. There's an event coming up in a couple weeks that I know is going to happen, and I would like to have a cheeseburger with the bread. Well, if you don't know keto, bread is not necessarily a good thing. It has a lot of carbohydrates, which can have a really bad effect if you're someone like me who can be a little carb sensitive these days. So, but I still want to be able to allot myself some french fries or some, give myself that grace to have those kinds of things, even if it is in moderati. Is that a word? I don't know. Anyway, so I'm giving myself this point system of, every day that I manage to stay on target and either have a keto day or a low carb day or even fast, because I do intermittent fasting periodically. I can give myself those points to then cash in for, a snack of my choice, which doesn't necessarily have to fall into my ketogenic lifestyle, or I can have a meal off, like an actual cheeseburger, or even have a full day off if I know I'm going for a weekend with friends or something, and I know there's going to be pizza and or alcoholic beverages, which are not necessarily ketogenic. I can allow myself those days, and if I prep it in advance, I can really stick with it. But in the meantime, here is my plan, my walkthrough of my planner. I thank you for sitting here and watching it with me. For just being here today. Yeah, I don't even know if you just put this on the background just so you had something to listen to. Regardless, I appreciate that you're here. I appreciate that you took the time to sit here and watch my video. And as for this back page, which I didn't even talk about, I'll fill this out later because it has some personal stuff in it. So, I hope to see you in January. Bye.